Hey friends, welcome to art. How are you guys? I hope everyone's doing well. I'm trying to remember the last, oh, it was this one. They're all like right here. The fish is the last thing that we did. So if you haven't done that class yet, that's one that you might want to check out. It's not like a requirement for what we're doing next, but it is a fun one. Also, update on that, if you did watch it. You know how we put, so like from this angle, it just totally looks like two-dimensional, and we put the scales on. These are like actually pieces of paper. When you see it in person, and it's really hard to tell from here, but like the scales like actually like stick up. Like, and it looks like real scales is basically what I'm trying to say. So I wish we could see it in person because it doesn't really do it justice on the camera, which is super weird how art is like that. But yeah, so I just update, you know, again, trying different textures, different mediums actually makes a huge difference. Whether, like from back here, you can't tell, like I probably couldn't tell on the wall, but when you're in an art gallery and you go up to something and examine it, you're like, oh my God, that's actually like different pieces of paper. And it just goes to show it's like a next level of work. Anyways, okay. So today we're going to do kind of like an abstract thing. Not necessarily like as opposed to this is obviously not abstract. This is a fish. This is a thing. This time we're going to be making art out of like squiggle art. Abstract art is like squiggles or like paint drips or whatever, like things that aren't actual. It's not an image of an actual object. Basically, it's like an imaginary. It's like just colors and textures and stuff like that. So today you're going to need. You have a few options for the mark making that we're going to be doing. The first thing that this is what I'm going to use is a glue gun, a hot glue gun. If you do not have one and or you are not allowed to use one because they can be dangerous, right? So before anything else, please be careful. Please, if you're doing this with a hot glue gun, have your supervision that you need with you. Okay, so if you know you're not supposed to be doing this and you will be watching this with Lala, so I'm pretty sure she'd be able to tell you yes or no, basically. So Lala, have my back on that. But if not a hot glue gun, or if you don't have one or don't have access to one, some kind of puffy paint will also work. I have this kind, and I have like this glittery glue. It's basically like stuff that like rises, so it'll kind of like create like a hump instead of just like a straight line. It'll be like puffy. You know how puffy paint works, right? The only problem with that stuff is that it's going to take a long time to dry, so you won't really be able to follow along with me as you're doing it. But the good news is, of course, you have YouTube, so you can pause this, watch it an hour from now when it's dry, whatever you got to do. If you don't want to do any of those, the last option is like a pen or a pencil. Okay, so I'm going to show you what it looks like with using this because I'm assuming that most people are probably going to have that. And then I'm just going to go over it with the glue gun so you see kind of both options. Okay, so and a canvas. Canvas or paper is fine. Totally fine if you're doing just like a regular pencil or pen or marker or whatever, and you're not using the glitter glue or the hot glue. Even if you are using the hot glue or the puffy paint glitter glue stuff, you can still use paper. Like it's totally going to be fine. This is just a little bit sturdier, and since I am using the hot glue gun, I feel like this is going to work better than a piece of paper. One thing quickly before I move on that you'll notice, maybe you can see it, this canvas has been used already. You can see some cracks, and like I painted over it with just like regular paint. Here's like a trick, a tip for you as an artist. It's going to seem like you're spending so much money on supplies. Like people always think they need to buy like the nicest brushes and, you know, markers and like the most expensive stuff. You don't. And here's why. You can do that. But there's already so many canvases, for example, in the world that exist that people don't use anymore, don't want to use anymore, right? So I go to places like Goodwill and like thrift stores and stuff like that and find paintings that people have donated to Goodwill, and then I just paint over them and reuse the canvas. And even with my own art, like I literally have, and I've told everyone in class this so many times, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I literally have about 7 canvases that I'll paint one, finish it, paint, and I do all 7 of them, and then I'll have no canvases left. So what do? I paint over them for the most part. Like if there's some that are like, they go up in galleries or they sell, obviously like I'm not going to paint over those, but for the most part, the way I see it, it's like by the time that you're about to be ready to start that new canvas, you should have that time and energy that you put into those 7 pieces will make you a better painter. And so because of that, you're like, you look back on that first one and you're like, no problem, I can cover that up, I can do that better. Does that make sense? So like, that's another thing about art. Like, do not get super attached to it. Like, you should totally be proud of stuff, especially when you're starting off. But you will get to a point where it's like, I can't keep buying a new canvas every week. You know what I mean? They're $25 or whatever it is. Like, that's just unreasonable. So do not be afraid to do that. Graffiti artists, people that do like outdoor art, you know, like murals and stuff like that. Like, what am I talking about? Well, like murals, but what am I talking about? Street art. There you go. So like when you see a building and it has a really cool painting on it, that is probably only going to be there for like a couple years. Some last a long time, but for the most part, people that do street art, that do murals, are very used to their stuff turning over real fast. The company that I do the events, we have muralists that come up and they do it like every week. Like they bring these big, huge, you know, mural walls and they'll paint it. And then the next weekend they paint right over it. And it's someone's beautiful work, but guess what? You can take pictures of it. So it's still getting seen and you can even make prints of it that way and stuff like that. So just do not get too attached to your work. Don't be afraid to paint over a canvas if you're not happy with it, if you had something else in mind, if you know, just are inspired to do something different, if you're like me and you don't have the money to go get one or whatever, don't be afraid of it. The other thing about that, before I go on, this is the last thing I'll say, is it's clearly imperfect, right? Like it's not just like a brand new canvas. Like I said, there are like these cracks in the paint and you can see through some of it. Well, guess what? The entire thing is going to be painted over. So you're not going to see any of that. The white paint is just there to like give yourself kind of like a visual, like, all right, it looks fresh, you know what I mean? But you're going to paint over all of that anyways. So don't be bugging about that. Okay, on to the project. So let me get you down here. I can never tell, like, I should have a ring light, huh? Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Okay, so here's my canvas. And what I'm going to do, and I told you I would do it with a marker or crayon or pencil or whatever to begin with, is basically, you guys know how I love squiggly line art, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to draw a whole bunch of squiggly lines. It can be like one continuous one, it can be swirly, go up and down, swirl, come back. You can start in front, you can go off the page and you can start a new one. But what we want to do, ultimately, is make sure there's a lot of like crisscrossing parts. What I mean by that is like, here's a line, I'm going to draw something that goes right through it, right through this one too. Okay. So I'm creating a lot of sections. So there's a section there, a section there, a section there. Like these are individual sections. And a lot of you have probably already done this. Actually, there's one on the wall right now that someone did in class. So it's nothing brand new, but it is always a cool thing to do. Okay, and it should end up looking something kind of like this. Actually, I'm going to do one more. And don't be afraid to have too many pieces, because we'll use them. Cool? All right, so for you guys at home, I'm assuming that you're probably using a pen or pencil or marker or something, and that's totally cool. But I am going to show you what it looks like when we use like the puffy version, okay? And I'm going to not use this because it takes forever to dry, so, but you can. And this part's cool too because it's in color, like if you pick a cool color. But I'm going to use my glue gun. And so all I'm doing is tracing out exactly what I just drew, but it's going to be in glue, so it's going to be kind of like a 3D version of it. And I'm being really careful, and I'm going down. You never want to go up. Actually, what am I saying? Yeah, you want to be careful that you're not like push, like if I press the glue gun, the glue comes out, and then if I push up, it goes through the glue. Like we don't want to go like this. I hope you can see this. And then go straight up, because do you see how I just went right through the glue? So you always want to be kind of like dragging it away. You're dragging it. Think of it more as a drag. You don't want to spread, you want to drag. You want to pull, not push. I think I said spread, not drag, and I meant drag, not spread. So. Music on. Where's my phone? While we're doing this, because I'm probably going to go a little bit faster than you guys, to be honest, because your girl has done this. I am much older than you, so I just automatically have a lot of experience. Lo-fi. Whoops. Oh, I love that song, but that's not what I'm shaking, yes. It's hard to like not squish it too hard and squish it not hard enough, so that in between is like shaky, shaky. Oh, by the way, this was originally given to me. This idea was given to me by Miss Kristen, so shout out to Miss Kristen for that. Careful not to get stuck in one thing. And I have to go grab another hot glue gun, so stand by and check it out for now. Sorry about that. This is actually, sorry, also a really good exercise for people that are learning how to color within the lines. And I'll show you why, but basically it's because you literally have to stay in the lines. It's like, you know, when you go bowling and it has bumper, they offer you those bumpers so that you can't get outside of the lines, really, ultimately. It's kind of what these are. Okay, once you got it all done, just kind of go around and take a look and make sure you got everything. Mine is like really bumpy and inconsistent, so if yours is that way too, do not feel like you're alone. But yeah, you could just go over some spaces that are like not up to par or something. Okay. And then as soon as you're done with the glue stick, make sure you turn it off, because if you don't, this will keep heating up and just wasting all of your glue. And this is precious stuff. You can see how fast that goes. So again, if you are using glue, this is only for if you are, you can go back and pick off any of the little hairs, which there are going to be a ton. So you're not going to probably have, you know, be inspired enough to get all of them. I am not. So, but some people are. Some people are super, super meticulous. I have another kid in my other class who, he is just very, if we try and like work on the same project, I just end up kind of like walking away because we have very different styles. He's very, very, what's it called? Like precise and specific. And I just like to work really fast because I'm, you know, that's when I'm inspired and I like to get my inspiration out. And I just definitely messed a piece up, but that's okay. So I'm going to keep moving because that's how I roll. So if you are one of those people that likes it to be perfect, there is nothing wrong with that. That's super cool. It's contributing to your artistic style. It's not part of mine. So if you need to take extra time, you can pause the video and get all these little thingies off. This is the kind of project that could take like 20 minutes or 4 hours, you know what I mean? So, okay. When you're done, should look. This actually, if you had tweezers, could be really helpful because it's kind of hard to grab them. They're so skinny. Okay. But when you're done, it should look something like this. Okay. You see how you can see it sticking up, standing up? Cool. And like I said, this is going to be cool for people that are learning how to color within the lines. Yeah, that's awesome for this. This is awesome for that. So, okay, from there, remember when we did the pattern making one? I know we did this in class. I don't know if I did this with you guys yet. Let's see, I did. I must have, right? Let's see. Maybe not. Basically, we can talk about it. Patterns. You're going to go back and fill every single one of these areas, right? These little sections, boop, 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 are all going to be different. So it can be different colors. And like I said, you'll be able to stay in the lines just fine. It can be different patterns. Like, what are some patterns? So polka dots, stripes. What did I do on mine? I did like thick stripes and then thin stripes and like wavy lines. Like, so if this was one of my blobs, like I could do that inside of a blob. You could do like stars. You could do the entire, all of the, what are they called? Lucky Charms. You could do hearts in one, stars in one, horseshoes in one another, you know, etc. So just have fun with it. And like I said, you can use markers. You can use paint, absolutely. Crayons, colored pencils, whatever you want to, pencil. Like if you don't want any color at all, some people love black and white art, and I say go with it. But I am going to go ahead and get to work, and I will show you some examples of some patterns. And I do want you to encourage you to get creative with your patterns. Like, of course, we know polka dots, and the other thing is, it might sound frustrating. You're like, that's all I can think of. Well, once you start doing your art project, it's amazing because ideas just come out of nowhere, and it's so cool. So just let the inspiration flow, and here we go. This one kind of looks like an eyeball, so I'm literally going to make a big, big eyeball. I'm going to color that part black. And part of my artistic style, which I'm going to start talking about this a lot more because it's so important for you guys to like figure out what that is for you. I really love realism and like things that look like, whoa, that could be real, or, you know, a photo or not, or even things that like I painted a monster in class one day, but obviously there is no such thing as monsters, but it like almost looks real. So I really like doing that. So I'm going to take this opportunity, even though it is an abstract project, I'm going to still incorporate this style. What's the difference between raspberry and tropical pink? Oh, there's a difference. It's perfect. Little tiny difference. That's a perfect one too. I need a lot of contrast, so I'm gonna go with different media. Ah! It's not sharpened. Let's see if there's a sharpener here. Dang. That's a good one too. I don't see a sharpener on the bat, so. It's perfect. And like I said, you know, we want no two spaces to be alike, be the same. So I could do this exact pattern all over again in just a different medium. That could be really cool. I'm gonna actually get that on. Just taking that next step with your art is something I've noticed with kids in class lacking. They get like, you know, okay, draw a fish. Okay, I'm done. Okay, well, what else can you do to it? Can you make those lines thicker? Can you give them a little bit more attention? Can you add another color? Can you add something else in the background? You know, just that extra detail. And yes, it's work, but that's what makes it awesome. And another weird thing about the magic of art is like the more effort you put into something, not always, of course, not always, and we can talk about the alternative to this, but for some reason, when you are, it's being in the zone, we've talked about that before too. When you're in the zone, like, and you know that you are, like, it just feels that way. I see all this those hormones that self, and when you are in the zone, or that people love, or whatever. When you are in that zone, you don't want to stop. Like, you just feel super inspired to keep working. Which is kind of where I'm at right now, because I'm really loving this project, and I was only going to keep this to like a 20-minute video, and we're already over that, so see how long we go for. Once you get started, like I said, I had no idea what I was going to do, but now I saw this little like smiley face guy and started coming out. Message that. This one I'm gonna like do the same like lines, but I'm gonna like do them in different directions. So like this one just connected like pick up with that one left off. Because there's like this one pick up this one left off and it's gonna that marker's dying. Oh, that's much better. You know what would be funny and a cute idea, and also kind of morbid, like all these things, like doing like a marker cemetery, but like like not a cemetery, but like creating a project out of them. That's a good idea. Whoops, and just like that I colored over the lines, of course. You'll notice I'm kind of like going around and not just doing like 2 at a time, you know, in the same place. You can do whatever you want, but that's just my technique that I've chosen. And I see something really cool in here. I need like a little, probably doesn't, oh wait, hold on. I don't know if it looks like this to you, but I saw a little alien head. It's like his profile. He's wearing like goggles. That's his mouth. Do you see it? He's facing this way. I always do that, as you guys know. Like I love seeing pictures and things. And I encourage people to do that because for me, it is super fun and helpful. I'm gonna do, oh. fun pattern that I like. You like kind of trace the inside of it, but you know, give it some space. So trace the shape. You can do this with every single one of them actually. And you just do the same thing inside of it a little deeper. And the trick is to maintain that same amount of space in between all of this. So like right here it's getting a little tricky and it actually ends up touching. So once they touch, I stop it. I'm going to start the same thing down here though, because there's obviously space to do it down here. Stops about there. About there. Does that make sense? This one's going to be real tricky. It might even just be a line down the middle. See how this amount of space is the same as this and is the same as that? So I put a little line there. I like doing that pattern a lot. In fact, I'm going to do it again with a different color, so. Kind of what I was, same thing there actually. That looks like an angry frog. Looks like he's frowning with angry eyes to me. Alright, so right here, he's like looking at something, I feel like. So what do you think he's looking at? Maybe he's just giving a dirty look. This one needs to be blue, it reminds me of water. I don't know why. I want it to be wavy. It's kind of like camouflage or something. Like that. Do like one continuous wavy line. It's gonna look like a brand or something. Checkers. Two checkers. Orange markers never work. Has anyone else ever noticed that? The orange markers never work, and the yellow markers always have black in them. Ouch. Man, really one of these. One, two. That one works. works perfect. All right. I'm trying my hardest to not have two colors, the same colors that touch each other. So like, I don't want an orange there, so there's an orange there. So like, that was where I did a little test. So just take them out. Got an idea. Swirls coming out of each corner. Hey, bud. Hi. What's up? Make sure you don't get on camera, okay? Because you're fine. Yeah. I don't think they can see. Art!
Guess what?
What?
I got it.
Ooh, super cute.
We'll make it.
No. Oh, nice. Sorry, I wasn't looking. I know you're talking to me. What's that smell? It smells amazing. It's low, huh? Yep, it smells like cake batter. Right? Yeah. It's that mixed with cheese. It's like the grossest but most delicious smelling thing ever.
Okay. It's pink candy.
I was walking behind her, I was like, it smells like cookies in the stairwell.
Miss Amy, the kids were wondering what ideas we can do for the art gallery. What they can help with, you know?
We're actually going to do that today. So I'm going to pull all the things in there out, and we're going to go through everything and talk about what we want to hang up and what we want to destroy.
We were trying to throw ideas, and I was like, well, talk to Miss Amy about it.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some good ideas, and we'll use them. This is like a child one. Actually, this one's my bed, actually. It's like a different color black too, it's weird. Ooh, that's a pretty color. You're okay. I don't want you guys being in here. I just don't want you to go on camera. This is like a SpongeBobby one. So it's kind of like a cowboy one, but now I'm doing the opposite. So instead of coloring in the shapes, I'm coloring in the negative space, which is the area around. There's like this little stray mark here, and I'm going to totally use that mirror once we have some mustache. That's me. So that's mustache, eyebrow, ear. If nothing else, let this be ASMR for you guys. People like talking or painting or just doing some relaxing stuff that makes you feel very relaxed. That's good therapy. Oh, you know what? I need red. Okay, what do you even? That's different enough? No. Red crayon. Red colored pencil. So sharper tips so it can get in there now, you know?